Oh, was it your network? Okay. So how are you gonna do it now? Are you gonna ban that data? Huh? Okay. 11 to 12:30. I have a class, a video class. So well, I want you to be hearing as they are talking till your data will finish. Yeah. Let me see. I love you. Hmm. I didn't say I am not coming. I've not opened my mouth to say that. Okay. You told her I was coming. It is well. As well. That is coming.
Hello, Bayo. Good morning. Hi, Bayo.
Oh, I'm supposed to reply. Wait. Oh, hello, good morning. Oh, sorry, I haven't muted my audio. I'm so sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
I say you should call the man and play.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining the call. My name is Dewey. So we are going to wait a little bit for others to join in. We'll just wait for a while. Say by 11:05 to commence with the session. Thank you very much for joining in. So just start preparing your questions if you haven't, so that you will fire us with it and then we'll answer you. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Why we don't share it, I'll keep it in our room. That comes in it.
But now you said to work first.
Okay, so we have more people joining in. So let's just give them a few more minutes just so that we don't have to repeat any details and we can all catch up at the same time. So just a few more minutes, about 2 minutes more, and then we'll get started. Okay, I think it's a good time to get started. My name is Opeyemi. Okay, let me just rename myself. A moment, please, for easy identification. Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. If you can, you could just, there should be an icon by your name that allows you to raise hand. So if you can hear me, please just do that. Or you can leave a message in the chat box that you can hear me. And also that I'm sure that everyone is following. Also, thank you, Ayodeji. Thank you, Damlari. Awesome. Okay, I hope our day is coming along well already. And thank you for joining the call. The whole goal of the call today is to give you more details about the accelerator program, breaking into tech, just sharing tips about how you can break into tech, and also answer any questions that you might already have about any of our courses, the ongoing application as well. So what we'll do is we'll do a brief introduction, and then much later, as we move along, you can then ask your questions. So I think the best way to take this is that right now, let's all rename ourselves. So this is the format: your name, where you're joining from, your location, Lagos, Abuja, out of Nigeria, and all that. And then the course that you are interested in. Either you've applied or you're still looking to apply, whichever one. So there are 3 main courses: software engineering, UX design, and data science. So just have that in your, you can just click on your name. You should have that option to rename so that we can all, just as a little form of introduction, so that we all know who is on the call. And then if you're yet to decide what course you want to pick, that's fine too. You can just put not decided. We'll figure out that together on the call. So let's just take a moment to do that. While we're trying to do that, I'll share my screen briefly, and just let me know when you're able to see my screen. Or if I get cut off at any point, just also leave a message in the chat box to inform me. So while you're renaming yourselves, if you also have any questions, feel free to start dropping that in the chat box, and we'll attend to it once we get to the Q&A. Okay, I can see that some people have started renaming themselves. Thank you. A moment, please. Awesome. Can we all see my screen? You can just indicate with another raise of hands. So if you raised your hands before for the question, if you could hear me, you can drop your hands now. ends up. Yeah, so we'll just get started. So it's the info session again, like I had shared, students info session, and the agenda is breaking into tech and applying to the student graduate accelerator program. So I'm going to also assume that there are some people on this call that have probably applied to the previous cohort. So almost everything that will be said on this call might not be new to such people. But for those of us that are joining us for the first time, maybe you got a referral from a friend, you've never heard about student before, we'll touch upon all that here on the call. Student delivers demand-driven digital trainings to millennials and then connects them to employers. So if you know Student very well, you know that we started out as a placement platform before we then introduced the training arm of the program. So for the digital trainings, we have software engineering, where we now have a specialized form for front end and back end. Then we also have UI/UX design. We have data science. We've also had a cohort of Android development and one other cohort of digital marketing. Okay, so yes, so those are the courses that we take here at Student. Sorry, it looks like my screen has a lag. Can you all still see my screen though? Okay. Oh, okay, yeah. So these are our wonderful team members. We have Oluwaseyi. So some of my teammates would also be joining us on the call, because Oluwaseyi was in charge of placements, myself on learning, doing Solar as well on learning, Ayodeni for the accounts team, Forever on marketing. So there are some other people that make our program a reality that are not captured here, which are our tutors, teaching assistants, and mentors. So we don't have all that specified on this slide. Then for our programs, like I had mentioned earlier, we have UX design, data science, and software engineering for the current application that is open. Yeah, so we have this little question here that says, what course is right for me? Like I had said at the beginning of the talk, there are some people on this call that have not applied at all, and you're not sure what course to even, which one of the tracks to even apply for. So we'll be touching up on that as well much later in the talk. For now, we'll just introduce you to what the program is like and other details about our model and how it all pans out. Okay, yeah, so since our inception in 2018, this what our numbers look like. So far, even though we have had thousands of people apply, we've only had about 400 plus enrolled so far. It gets placed within 90 days of graduation. About 70% at least gets placed within 90 days of graduation. This is definitely also dependent on how much work you've been able to put into it during the course of the program, and yes, that influences how fast you can get placed most of the time. Yeah. Then for average starting salary in the industry, and also from our key numbers, our alumni, we have 150K as the average starting salary. So there's a survey that says for new graduates from universities and typical higher institutions, the average starting salary is usually about 50,000. So that means if you take any of those training programs, you have a benchmark of that's times 3 of that to earn for just the first year of getting into the industry. Okay. Yeah, so for our impact is that you can put to the program. Some of our alumni from 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, we have opened, and we've had alumni that are currently working in companies in Nigeria and also outside of Nigeria, the likes of Terragon, Simfix, Interswitch, Bazat, Spinlet, VGG, Shore Group, Flutterwave, and the likes. And then, Yeah, this is a tweet from Razak Ahmed, the co-founder of Carrywise, from one of their recruitment processes. Yeah, so for our tutors, we seek out instructors with both industry experience and a passion for teaching. So how does that work? Program, and that's because the best kind of teacher. Can we all hear me clearly? Can we all hear me clearly? Let me see if I have some responses in the chat box. So you can just drop a message in the chat box if it's all clear. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Shegun. Thank you, Dwayne. Yeah, so I was speaking about our instructors. So we've had instructors in the past from PGVest, Andela, Spotify, Career Foundry, and the likes. So for our instructors, we try to make sure that our instructors are those that are currently practicing in the industry, because they are just tutoring as a full-time job. They might not be able to update their knowledge as much as someone that has a full-time mics, so that we clear audio. Thank you. Yeah, so for someone that has a full-time job where they're practicing, it means that they can instill, they have that recurring practice from their full-time jobs, and they can, if they would also be teaching. Yeah, so we actually is going to start the section of how to break into tech. So we would like to start with one of our alumni's success story and how she was able to start a career as a UI UX designer. So I'll just play this YouTube video for a moment, just about 2 minutes, after which we'll then share tips and highlights from Olayinka's story and how you can actually break into tech. So this is from Olayinka's blog post after she finished her training program, a journey to becoming a, she had said, enrolling for the SGA program was unanticipated for her. She just got the email invite, like some of us have already gotten it. She also mentioned that she had been out of a job for 6 months and she wasn't really doing anything. So I'm sure that this will resonate with some of us. Decided that she should just try it out. If she gets into the program, good. If she doesn't, that's also okay. But at the end of the day, she found out that that decision that she made to go ahead and apply was the best decision of her career. She moved from Terragon Group to OPay, and she's currently at Colab now. So I would play this video shortly. Maybe we would also get 1 or 2 tips from Olayinka's story.
At Terragon Group, I'm a computer science graduate from Ajayi Crowther University. I wanted to do something in tech. I came across them through a friend of mine. She told me about a company that sends internship opportunities to students and graduates. So I applied, and somehow students sent me a message about UI UX, and I was like, wow, UI UX design. I've never heard of UI UX design. What can I do with UI UX design? So I was skeptical about applying at first, but later I just decided to apply, and I found out UI UX is actually really it. That was the beginning of my career. So I've been working since last year, February till now, and it has been really great. After student, our CVs and our portfolios were sent to different companies, and we were called for interviews. So I went for so many interviews, and after a series of interviews, I got 3 offers. So I had to just pick one from the 3 offers. So life after student has been great. I've seen a significant growth in my career. As a UX designer, you can't just stay put. You have to always constantly design. You have to constantly
constantly put in the work, sleepless nights if possible, do daily UI challenges, do Adobe XD challenges, make sure your portfolio is up to par. Look at I've mentors, look at what other people have done, because that was how I was able to grow myself. So you look at what other people have done, you have to always constantly put in the work. So then has really changed my life. It gave me a career path. So I'll implore you to apply. You have to apply.
Okay, amazing. So that's it from online. Let me just stop sharing that YouTube now. Yes, so that's it from Olenka. And why are we showing this story? Why did we decide to display this story? It's so that you can see that there are real life people that are in the same shoe that you might currently be now. So I'm going to drop another link in the chat box that would show you. So we have other success stories for people that have gone through the program. It's in this speaker notes on the side. Just share it in the chat box, as well as Olenka's blog post about how she was able to get her career started. Yeah, so it's so that you can see that there are real life people in your same show, the same way you're feeling. There are people that didn't even have any experience at all, and they're thinking, oh, there's some people that are already so good out there. If I get started now, at what point do I become so good? At what point do I become that world-class designer, world-class developer, world-class data scientist? But at the end of the day, all you just really need to do is to take that first step, and the rest, they say, is history. So I'm going to also share highlights from Olenka's story and other tips as well. So I highlighted some of the things that we're able to gather from Olenka's story, which includes curiosity. You cannot even underestimate the place of curiosity in breaking into tech. You have to be a self-starter. You have to be able to research. If you heard from Olenka's story, she had shared that she didn't even know what design was at all. So yes, she had actually studied computer science in school, and she was also teaching students robotics. But it doesn't even matter if you don't have a CS degree. It doesn't matter if you studied forestry, zoology, and the likes. A lot of us can even attest to the fact that in our universities, even if you study computer science, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have so much head start as opposed to people that did not study computer science at all. So the place of curiosity cannot be underestimated. You have to be curious about whatever it is you're going to. Yes, this is the first time you're hearing about design. This is the first time you're hearing about software development. How much are you now able to find information to help you determine, oh yes, is this really for me? So that's one. Accountability is also another thing. So which is why you have students. We're going to, if you're familiar with the student program, you know that you are going to have that place of accountability in the program, because you have teaching assistants that are assigned to you. You have to submit your tasks, you have to take projects, you have to participate in all group activities as well. So yes, you have to own your learning on your own, even outside of the program. But it also helps if you have that community of people that are on your neck to make sure that you succeed in whatever career that you decided to pick from any of these tech programs. Then there's also the place of resilience. If you heard what Olenka said as well, she mentioned that she applied to so many jobs. She attended so many interviews, and that's the story for some of our alumni as well. You'll be surprised that some people would apply to just 2 jobs and they just get an offer. Some people would apply to as many as 20 jobs before they get an offer. It doesn't necessarily mean that the person that applied to just 1 job and got a job was way better than the person that applied to 20 jobs. There's also the place of soft skills. Because it's not just about your training. So we can't exactly teach you from the scratch, but we have things like interview preparation session, and also sessions about how you can improve your soft skills just to prepare you for the job market there. And then the program is also going to stretch you a lot, which is, it rings true for any tech career. Just ask any software developer out there, ask any designer out there. They'll tell you how many sleepless nights that they've had. So yes, it's not something to brag about, it's not something to boast of, but it just shows you that
if you're coming into this space, it's not a stroll into a six-figure job. It's not that you're just going to come in and just play around and you just get a job like that. No, you have to put in the work, like Olayinka shared. You have to be resilient, because there are times that you feel like, can I really continue to do this? But that place of resilience is what is going to keep you going. Then right network, yes, which is why we have the student community that you can harness if you apply to the program. So we have tutors, we have mentors, and in your cohort as well, you also have the place of other learners within your cohort that you can always speak to. So you need that network just to break into tech, because it's not something that you can do on your own. I mean, you can just take a course online, but if you have that community, it means that whenever you have questions, there's always somewhere to go to. There's always someone to run to say, oh, I don't really understand this. Can you help me? Can you put me through? Then learn by doing. So you could learn this thing, you could learn them theoretically, but employers out there, employers in the industry are more moved by what you're able to do. They want to see what projects you've worked on. They want to see what skills, so not just your skills on paper, not just your skills on your resume, but they want to see how you're able to put those skills in practice, which is the structure that student gives you. You have to be able to own your problem solving skills. So you'll be owning your problem solving skills while building your portfolio. At the end of the day, about your certifications, even if you have that certification, it's just on paper. What they want to see is your portfolio. What projects have you worked on? How can they use? Which is one thing that you can guarantee. Then building collaboration skills. In developer, you won't be working alone. If you're a designer, you wouldn't be working alone. Data scientists wouldn't be working alone. You would have to collaborate with other people within the team to make sure that the business gets value. And these are some of the things that we try to simulate in the program. So you have from group projects within your track to inter-track projects with that's some sort of cross-functional collaboration with people from other tracks. So at some point in the program, you'd work on an inter-track project that would see you working with, let's say you're a software developer, you'd have to work with a designer and a data scientist to bring a project to life, an actual project that will be shipped at the end of the day. Yes, so building confidence as well. So for tech interviews, there might be some things that you don't exactly know from whatever career that you're coming from. So we try to also make sure that we have an interview preparation session just to prepare you for some of the questions that you can get asked when you go for interviews, sort of mock interviews with your team, sharing tips with the community on. Okay, yeah. So I was trying to wrap up with this before I hand over to my colleague. Yeah, so I was speaking about the place of little beginnings. If you check Olayinka's LinkedIn profile, you see that she started small from Ifota to Terragon, now she's at OP. And there are some other people as well like that. Sorry, can we? Can you hear me now? Okay, awesome. So let me just quickly try to wrap this off since network is cutting in between. Yes, I was saying if you check Olayinka's profile on LinkedIn, for instance, you can see that she actually started small. She started from Ifota, then she moved to Terragon Group, and now I think she's at OP, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, you might not exactly get that Google job, that Microsoft job immediately after the program, because there is a space, there's a place for knowledge and there's also a place for experience. So even if you are the smartest person in the building and all that, you can not also underestimate the place of experience that you need. So yes, you'll be building projects during the course of the program, but it's also okay to start small. It's okay to take that internship first. And the good thing about the tech space is that you can upskill so fast that within the space of 6 months, that job that you were looking at as a lofty attainment is just going to be at your fingertip. So what you really need to do is just take that first step and don't be shy. Lastly, don't be shy. Ask a lot of questions. So we've seen people during the course of the program that a network of mentors, network of tutors, and still utilize it. Also on LinkedIn, you have connections that are also already in the space that you're looking to get into. So don't be shy. Try to ask questions as much as possible. Use Google, research, connect to that person that you think is doing well in that career that you're looking to join, and ask a lot of questions. When you have that connection, like student is going to provide you when you join the program, make sure that you don't underutilize it and you're making the best value of whatever you're presented with. So yes, that's about it on our tips. I would hand over to my colleague Doing now to take us through the learning model at student. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Doi, and I am in charge of, or I work in the learning department. So I'll just share my screen in a bit. 1 second. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'll be taking us through the learning model and what it entails. So the program for the Student Guided Accelerator program, whatever track you apply to, you can learn from anywhere. So we have the software engineering track, we have the UI UX track, and we have the data science track. So we run an online instruction model which enables you to be a part of the class wherever you are. If you would be coming to our physical campus, that would be to access internet, power supply, and physically interact with other learners. So what this means in a nutshell is that the tutor is going to be online. You'll be meeting with the tutor online. So there'll be no case of coming into class to meet with the tutor physically. All meetings with the tutor for classes would be online. So there are usually exceptions sometimes when the tutor says, oh, I would like to meet with the learners physically. So if the tutor requests to meet with learners physically, then we can organize like a physical meeting. However, classes are to hold solely online, but you can decide to join the class either remotely if you're not in Lagos, or if you're not in Lagos, even if you're in Lagos and maybe you work or you find it comfortable to attend class from the comfort of wherever you are, you can decide to attend class from wherever you are. If you want to then say, oh, I want to come down to the space is in Bagada. So we have a space where you can use our resources like internet and power supply. Then you can also meet with other learners. So I think it's a good thing that you meet with other learners because it allows for interaction, and then you'll be able to like share knowledge as well and meet with learners from other. So yes, that's basically what this slide is saying. And we teach learners using videos and text-based materials. So what this really means is that for learning, we share slides before the class with learners so that you can get familiarized with the topic for that day. We usually make an effort to share it within 24 hours. That's before the class is supposed to hold, so that you're well informed as to what the topic is about. And then for the videos, they are basically recorded videos from live sessions. So I'll get into the live sessions along the way. So if you can see here, you will see some images that shows like different application logos. So these are the tools that we use during the course of the program. Can everybody hear me? Okay. All right. So these are the tools that we use during the course of the program. We have Slack, for example. So we use Slack to manage communications. On Slack, that we share most of the informations that would pass across to you through Slack. Informations regarding the time class is supposed to hold, a session, whatever information it is, we always manage communications on Slack. And we use Trello as well. So Trello is used for managing projects, mostly for making submissions. So when you get an assignment in class, the tutor gives you a deadline, and then submits. We always direct you to Trello, yes, to make submissions. Then we use Zoom and Google Meets. This is Zoom and this is Google Meet. So we use Zoom and Google Meet to manage meetings and classes. So for the live sessions for class that that's for the classes that holds with your tutor, you would be using Zoom. Then for other sessions, like say the peer presentations and whatnot, you use Google Meet. Then Google Drive. For Google Drive, we usually create folders in Google Drive to house all the slides and important materials that you would need to learn. So yes, these are the tools that we use for learning. The program duration and the schedule. So the program about 4 to 6 months, 8 months, sorry, and it's broken down into 3 phases. So all right, so the program is broken down into 3 phases. We have the pre-course week, we have the learning weeks, and then we have the project week. So for the pre-course week, this is the period, this is the week before class starts. So it's usually between 2 to 3 weeks. It varies for tracks. So yeah, for 2 to 3 weeks, the pre-course week. So during this period, what we usually do rather is to help you with the basics, introduce you to the basics of what you should know before the program starts. Say, for example, learners that enrolled to the software engineering track, you get to learn the basics of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the likes before you get into the program. Then for the learning week is like the first half of the program. Can anybody hear me? Okay. All right. So the learning week is like the first half of the program, and it is the period where you get to learn. So in the learning week, you learn and you'd also work on projects. So we have 2 projects that takes place during the learning week. They are called the milestone project. They're divided into groups. We have the group milestone project and we have the individual milestone project. So what the milestone project means is you've gotten to a stage where we believe that you should be able to work on a project related to a particular topic, like essential topics. So you get to work on projects. We usually leave the tutors to decide which aspect of the program would come as the individual milestone project and which would come as the group milestone project. But nonetheless, you'll be working on at least 2 projects while learning. That's aside assignments and bi-weekly challenges as well. So yes, then after the learning weeks, we have the project week. So the learning week solely involves your tutor and your teaching assistants or mentors. So during the learning week, like my colleague, that's where you bring in all the skills. That's when you put your all into ensuring that you scale through learning and the project week and the program in general. So we always advise that you ask questions. No question is a silly question. So during the learning week, you have to explore all your options. Then we have the project week. So for the project week, you're working on personal projects. For the personal projects, you would be the one to come up with what you want to work on. Then inter-track project is always fun because you get to work with designers, developers, data scientists, depending on what track you are enrolled to. So yes, these are the 3 phases that the program is divided into. The class would usually hold twice in a week, on weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So the live session holds for 2 hours. So regardless of when your class is scheduled to hold, you'll be having a session with your tutor for 2 hours. So the class days, the schedule for class days usually vary based on the track you are enrolled to. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat box so that we'll respond to them. So hands-on approach, yes. The program is very much involves hands-on approach, because you get to work on different projects, like I mentioned earlier, both in groups and as individuals. So expect to actually get your hands dirty when you enroll to the program, because you work on assignments, you work on bi-weekly challenges, you might even work on daily challenges. just to ensure that we keep your morale high. But yes, you get your hands dirty. So yes, this is how the live session basically looks. This is the live session for the software engineering track. So live session, like I mentioned, they hold twice in a week. So you can ask your questions during the live session. So the good thing about the live session is that we usually record them, just like the session that we're having now, we are recording it. So we always record the live sessions. And then once they are recorded, we have a YouTube playlist where we upload the pre-recorded sessions to. However, this doesn't mean you should miss class or anything. If you do not have like a solid reason for missing class, we do not advise that you miss class, because during the live session, you get to interact with the tutor and ask your questions. So yes, this is for the live session. So as you can see here, this is like the coding session that is going on with the tutor. So yes, that's for the live session. Then bi-weekly challenges and check-ins. Yes, so I mentioned the bi-weekly challenges. So every twice in a week, in every month, you'd sorry, twice every month rather, you would get a challenge that will be created by your teaching assistant and mentor. So this challenge is going to be focused on the topic that has been treated within that 2 weeks or prior to that 2 weeks. The questions are supposed to be focused on topics that you are already familiar with. So you get them twice in a month. And then you also get your daily check-in. So the daily check-ins are more like this. There's double for attendance and a form to check in to know how you're faring. So in the daily check-in, we always want to hear from you. Tell us what you're going through, how the class is going, what you're enjoying, what you're not enjoying, everything. We want to hear everything. So yes, that's for the daily check-in. Then this is Trello. This is how Trello looks. So when you start, when the pre-course week starts, you'll be using Trello for assessment. So yes, learners get paired with mentors in the form of teaching assistants throughout their training. The teaching assistants are also physically available in class twice in a month to attend to learners. So yes, we have a session called the AMA session or Ask Me Anything session. This session holds with the teaching assistant. So at least twice in a month, you would meet with your teaching assistant. So it's always a combination of a physical meeting and an online meeting. So yes, but you're supposed to meet physically with your teaching assistant twice in a month. So we usually have about 2 to 3 teaching assistants per track, and that also depends on the number of learners that we have enrolled per track. All right, so yes, this is Trello. You are going to create a card, a list in your name and a card and whatnot. Please get familiar with all these tools because to make things easier for you. So yes, I think that's about it. Like I mentioned, if you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat box. I'll respond to them. Thank you. So yes, my colleague Oluwaseyi would pick up speaking on the course that is right for you.
And thank you, Joy, and thank you everyone again for joining. My name is Oluwaseyi. Please let me know if you can hear me. Can we all hear me? Amazing. I will be sharing my screen in a bit. So I'll also be walking us through how to pick the right course, the recent update that we made to our software engineering track, as well as how to apply and enroll in the program. 1 second. Okay. Okay, please let me know if you can all see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so these are our programs. These are the programs that we have available for the 1.1 cohort. And we have UI UX design, we have data science, and we have software engineering. So for UI UX design, I would say if you have any creative or artistic skill, and then you should consider UI UX design. Or say you have this special affinity for understanding someone, for understanding something, or maybe even for understanding a situation, right? You should definitely consider UI UX design. And when you join the program, you will learn the nitty-gritty right, of the course, from the theoretical part of things to the practical aspect of things, which includes tools like Adobe XD, Figma, and even Balsamic for prototyping, wireframing, and things like that. So if you have any interest in design, it could even be graphic design or fashion design, right? You should consider this course. And also for data science, so if you maybe have a background or a knowledge in research, or maybe you have, you love working with figures or numbers, or maybe you even have a skill in, you are skilled in mathematics, right? So you should consider data science. However, you should also have it at the back of your mind that you'll be learning how to code as well, because data scientists work with a programming language called Python. So you should have that at the back of your mind. However, the skills that you will learn in the program will help you uncover solutions from a wide range of data, and you make life easy for users. And also for software engineering, so we have two specializations. Now we have the front-end development, and then we have the back-end development. So I'm sure you're wondering, why did we make this change? So for front end, for software engineering, we have over time realized that it is very important for you to focus on one thing, do it well, and do. And so it's best, or maybe pick up back end even as you go in your career. Can you all hear me? Oh, not hear me. 1 second. I'm just going to check my internet.
Hi guys, sorry for the break in transmission. Yeah, she yeah, so she's trying to fix her internet. Please give her like just a few seconds. She'll be back on.
Hello, can we all hear me now? Amazing. I'm going to continue sharing my screen in a bit. Apologies for that. Oh, okay, I'll go over it. Can we all see my screen? Can we all hear me as well? Okay.
So you were talking about focusing on one thing, please. Can you go over that again?
Okay, I will. So I was talking about the recent update that we made to our software engineering course. So I had mentioned earlier that we now have two specializations, which is the front-end development course and the back-end development course. So we realized that it is very important for software engineering. It is very important that as a beginner, you should focus on one thing, know it, and do it well. Hence the reason why we decided to have these two specializations. So if you are looking to enroll in the software engineering track, you would enroll, you first come into to start off as software. Hi everyone, it's without the video for now. Just so we're able to manage our bandwidth and then you're able to hear me. Please let me know, can you still hear me? Can everyone hear me now? Okay, that's good. I'm about to start sharing my screen now. Yeah, and I'll go over the software engineering track again, just so we all catch that. So for software engineering, we have two specializations, front-end development, back-end development. So I was saying that if you're interested in this track, you would enroll as a software engineer. You would first learn the basics of software engineering, and then at some point focus on either front-end development or back-end development. So we no longer have software engineering as both front-end and back-end development, right? So you have to pick one. And speaking to front-end development, so front-end development is more of what the user see, right? You'll be working on what users see when they interact with a website or even an app, right? So you work with technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So it's also sometimes called the client-side programming. Right, so take for instance the student website. When you visit the website, you will see different colors, you will see call to action buttons, and then you're able to interact with those things. You're able to see the colors and things like that. So that was done by a front-end developer. Then speaking about back-end development. So when you click on, say for instance, you go on the student website, you click on apply now, the website will automatically display the application form. So you have clicked the apply button and the website had gone to the back end of the website to actually fetch the application form for you. So that's like a layman's way of describing what back-end development is. So you'll be working with putting information in a database, working with the server side of an application, or it could be a website or whatever that is. Right, and you will work with technologies like MongoDB, Node.js, and things like that, right? So that's what backend development is in like a layman language. And we also understand that you are mostly beginners, so it's very important to break these things down into bits for you to be able to understand. So backend developers are responsible for everything that happens behind the scene. If you think that this interests you, please feel free to apply for our software engineering track and pick either of the two specializations. Now, moving on to the application process. Okay, I think we have already walked you through this. I've told you why we made a change, and I've also told you what this also means for you. Then for application process, we have 4 stages where you first complete the application. Once you're done completing the application, you submit your task, and then you get an admission decision that you have been admitted into the program. Once you get that, you make payments to enroll, and then we'll start classes. So for the application part, the application is just for us to, the first part is just for us to get to know you. You get to fill in your personal details, like your name, your first name, your last name, your email address, your phone number, and all those stuff. That's for the application process. And once you are done, you will get an email from us saying that we have gotten your application, and then you can proceed to the next step. So the next step would be you completing a take-home task, right? And if you do not get the take-home task, please make sure you check your spam folder. So sometimes the email could just go to your spam folder. So make sure you check your inbox and also check your spam folder. If you check and you still didn't get it, just send us an email saying that didn't get the software engineering task or didn't get the UI UX task, right? We will respond to you. We'll provide the link to the task for you to submit. And also you will have to submit an interview video. So before COVID, we had applicants come into our space, meet with them, and then just do like a mini interview with them. But with COVID, you just have to do like an interview video. What we're essentially looking for is just for you to tell us about yourself and your interest in the program, and also about the task. So we'd say that you have to read the instructions carefully, study the learning resources before attempting the task. So we get emails like, oh, I am a beginner and I don't know how to proceed with the task. Sometimes we get this, sometimes we think it's because you haven't carefully studied the task. because the way the task is structured is that you first go through the learning resources, right, to give you a head start. And then once you go through them, you should be able to attempt the task. So you want to read the instructions carefully. You also want to go through the learning resources, right? And then once you're done, submit that. We would review and then get back to you. Also, after you've gotten your admission letter, right, you'll be required to provide 2 guarantors. My colleague Ayodini will be speaking more on that. So just when you get your admission letter, make sure you talk to your guarantors to sign the parts that they are required to sign. And also you can use e-signature platforms like HelloSign. We'll drop that in the chat box. Don't you assist with that? So you can use HelloSign, and we have a couple of other online signature tools that you can also explore for signing. You don't have to like bring a hard copy to us, right? But if the hard copy also works for you, feel free to do that. I think that will be all from my end. Thank you very much for listening. I will pass this on to my colleague Ayodini to continue.
Okay. Hi everyone. This is afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Ayodini, and well, let me see. Hold on. Sorry, my video is not on. I am not at the space with my colleagues, and I don't want anyone to see I woke up like this face. So, okay. Okay. Sorry. I do not think I can do this. Sorry, there is something wrong with my computer. So Shay, please, can you help me share your screen and let me present from yours? Hello.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Ayodini, 1 second. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, everyone, please, can you see Shay's screen? Apologies for that. So let's just get right in. So for the payment options, we have 3 different payment options. We have the full tuition, we have the installment, and we have the ISA, income share agreement. So for the full tuition here, it's a one-off payment. You have to make your complete payment before enrolling into the program. So before the program begins, you have to have made a payment of 540,000. This sum is VAT inclusive. That is at that is at 500 flat, then 40,000 on your on as your VAT. Then yes, you have to pay 100% upfront. No other charges come up during your career. Then for the option 2, it's the installment. This is where you make a payment of, we split your installment into 4. We split your installment into 4, and you make them equal and monthly. So you have 4 months within which to complete your payment. That's 4 months from the beginning of the program. So in the event that, or in the case that you start your program, we start this program in September, you have to make your payment September, October, November, December. Exactly, that's how it works. And you have to make it in equal installments. And the aggregate, 584 aggregates will give you about 146,000 naira each. Yeah, that's for each month. Then, okay, so for applicants that, or for applicants that apply before class starts, you have to make your first installment before the program starts. So even if you make your installment, even if you make your first installment, say July now, and the class doesn't start until September, you will not be required to make another payment in September. I hope you understand that. So your next payment is still going to come up in October. Although if you have your payment, that's your second payment, and you want to remit it into the account, yes, you can reach out to the accounts team and you can do that. You can complete your payment earlier than stipulated. That is not a problem. Okay, so for the third option, I guess this is where a lot of people have a lot of questions. So I will try as much as possible to take us through this, well, in the simplest way possible. So for the income share agreement, this is a payment option available for applicants who cannot readily afford the full tuition or the installment payment. So here, you get to pay an enrollment fee of 86,000, and that's all you pay during the program. And you pay, and after the program, upon graduation and getting a job, you pay back 15% plus VAT for the next 24 months. If you understand that, can I see your hands, please? If you have questions, you can also drop it in the chat box. I'll go over this again. So I'll just use a scenario. If it is the case that you're earning, I'll use a very, very simple divisible number. If it is the case that you're earning 100,000, after the program, you will remit 15,000 plus VAT. VAT right now in Nigeria is 7.5. So the total of that will be about 16.125% of 1,000. So you'll be sending 16,125 Naira to student every month. If you understand that, then that's definitely how the program works. And I mean, how the payment works, and you will do that for the next 24 months. So what this means is at every point or every stage where your payment changes, where your remuneration, that's your salary, changes, your payment to student will also change. It will take the form of your remuneration. So whatever you earn, it's 15% of what you're earning. So it is the same with if you're earning 500,000. I hope you know that. Yes, so that is that. So little incidences concerning payment. We have the refund policy. We have, okay, for the refund policy, that I'll just quickly speak on that. That works, or that is activated after you make your payment. So once your payment signifies an acceptance of the terms of the agreement. Generally, when you enroll into the program and when you apply into the program and we review your task, we send you an admission letter. The admission letters are packed with 3 different classes of agreement. One agreement goes for the full tuition, one agreement for the installment, one agreement for the ISA. So whichever agreement works with you or whichever payment plan you're going for, that is the agreement you sign and send back to us. So for the ISA agreement, for every agreement, well, you have to read them before you make your payment. There on the agreement, you find the refund clause. Here, the refund clause, we deduct 21,500 for your application processing fee. So this means that 21,500 is non-refundable once you make payment. So if you make, say if you make a payment of 86,000 and if you make a payment of 86,000 and you want to say withdraw from the program, or you're no longer interested in the program during pre-course weeks, like as early as pre-course weeks, we can only refund you after pre-course weeks, sorry, pre-course weeks takes about 2 weeks after the program. We can only refund you, I think, well, help me do the maths, it's 6,000 minus 21,500. So yeah, we can only give you that. Then switching payment plans. I know a lot of you might have questions concerning switching payment plans. You can switch your payment plans. Actually, you can opt for income sharing agreement at the beginning. Then anything happens, we do not know what the universe holds in store for us. So anything happens, you can come across a huge sum of money and decide to bless student with it. Yes, we will receive it. if you want to switch to installment or if you want to switch to full tuition, but you can only switch to full tuition depending on the time within which you want to switch your payment plan. So if you're still within pre-course weeks or say just barely 4 weeks into the program, yes, you can complete your full tuition. But if it's already say 2 months into the program, yeah, you do not have the luxury of switching to full tuition. You have to go for the installment. Then yes, the ISA is on its own. It's an agreement binding both parties, but yeah, there is room for negotiation outside the income sharing agreement, but the negotiations are peculiar to each situation. Everyone does not get the same result during negotiation, and usually negotiations will not result in you paying lesser than your tuition in the first place. So that goes without saying. I guess I have been able to convey the essence of the payment plans and how each of them work. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Shei, for the screen sharing. Okay, so looking to join our next class, we have August and September cohorts, that is 1.1 cohort. The classes, the program is slated to, we do not have a fixed date for the program, but the classes are slated to start, or the program is slated to commence somewhere between the last week in August and say second week in September, thereabout, yes, because there are other applicants, and definitely we have to give everyone a chance to either submit their task, we review the task, and definitely the same way we give everyone 2 weeks within which to make payments. So whoever is going to apply in the first week of August will have to review the task, would have to send the person an admission letter, and also give the person 2 weeks within which to make payments. So that way, I think it's fair for all, and definitely you guys want classmates. So yes, take it easy on us. The program will start. Thank you, everyone. I look forward to your questions.
Awesome, thank you. Awesome. Yes, they definitely want classmates. So as Dania had already shared, the program is slated to start between August and September, but then it's also all dependent on you. That's why we want you to turn in your submissions as soon as possible. If you have questions, oh yes, that's one other thing. So I should probably share that once you apply and on your task inbox, you should have a connection to the WhatsApp group that houses everyone that has applied so far. So from there, you get directions to join our Slack community where you can ask questions regarding your application, your task, and the likes. So please work on that as soon as possible. So I think we've taken all questions in the chat box so far. So we are going to take questions from people that would like to speak now. So if you would like to speak, while I just run through the questions that have been asked in the chat box, please raise your hand, indicate with a raise of hand, and then we'll ask you to unmute duly, just so that it doesn't become rowdy. But in the meantime, while we're doing that, I'll just go over some of the questions that have been asked in the chat box and just speak on them a little bit. Yeah, so someone, yes, Precious says, what about us that applied but haven't submitted the task until the deadline? Will our application be considered? Yeah, so if you applied already and you typically have a 72-hour window to submit your task, but if you weren't able to do that till the window closed, it's still okay for you to submit now. What we always just try to iterate is that the earlier you submit, the better your chances of being considered, because of course we also have to review your submission, review your interview before we send a decision to you. So try to submit as soon as possible, and just so that if you have any issues too, we are able to attend to them on time. Yes, so even for people that have submitted their task and the task is maybe not up to par or we're unable to access it, so it's not usually just radio silence from our end, we'll still reach out to you to let you know that something was up with your application and that you can try to apply maybe now or next time, depending on what the circumstance is. Someone else asked that I'm not a fresh graduate. I just want to make a career switch. So I think someone already responds to that person that they can check the payment plan on the platform. If none of them is suitable to you, we'd like to hear from you. I mean, we are not necessarily saying that we'd have an answer to whatever suggestion you're bringing in, but at least let's hear from you. We never can tell where our next payment model might come from, inspiration for that. Isn't also says, I got a mail that says front-end and Android development is not available for this August course. So I think she already spoke on that. Yes, Android is not available at all, but front-end is available as a specialization under software engineering, meaning that if you're interested in front-end or back-end, all you just need to do is apply for software engineering, and then much later in the course of your application would ask you which of the specialization is your preference, and then we'll pick it up from there. Someone else is asking, let me see. Shegun says he has not registered at all. That's fine. That's part of why we are here today. So you have the link to the website in the chat box. Just look through details on the website and apply for your most preferred course. Someone says, I got an offer letter from a previous cohort, but I didn't proceed. So you would actually need to reapply now, because the task for this cohort is a little different from what we had in the previous cohort. So you need to apply on the platform. Precious says, for candidates that fall into this category, oh, okay, that's been answered as well. Patrick's question has also been answered. I think that's about it. So we shared a link to Yinka's blog post in the chat box. We shared a link to other success stories, and we shared a link to our FAQ page as well. So there is a whole wealth of information on the FAQ page. In fact, if you take your time to go through all the questions on the FAQ page, you might never even have to reach out to us to ask us any questions. Yes, we're that detailed. So you have a lot of responses on the FAQ page that will speak to a lot of circumstances that you might be thinking of. And finally, we'll be sharing a recorded version of this call much later, probably between today and tomorrow, so that you can rewatch it and check if there's any detail that you missed out. So Ace, I can see someone raising their hand. Ace, you can unmute yourself to speak, please. Winifred, please mute your mic. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand so that we can do this in an orderly manner. Ace, please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks. It's been interesting listening in. Two quick questions for me. First is the classes. I think I heard one of the speakers say the classes are weekday class, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or so. That's like a full school, work period. For some people who are maybe 9 to 5 p.m. workers, I mean, how do we manage any option for weekend classes to still be able to gain maximally? That's the first question. Second question is for the ISA payment option. Well, I think your presentation says it has to be, payment will begin to count after one gets a job, from the skills he has learned. What if I don't get a job on time, for instance? What's the period of grace you people will give before I can get a job? If for any reason I don't get a job, after graduating, what's the period of grace that you would give for me to get a job and begin to make payments, maybe before you go after my guarantor or something? Because I know you go after them.
No, it actually doesn't work like that per se. But yes, very brilliant question. So we'll take them. I'll take the first question and I'll let my colleague Denny take the second question. Yes, so for people that have 9 to 5, so yes, we actually have had, we definitely have people that have 9 to 5 jobs in the program. And the whole program is not when you have classes per day, it's not going to exactly hold all through the day. So the way it works is in the morning, you get your daily check-in just for us to see how you're faring. You get the class resource for that day. And why you get your class resource for that is because we want you to go through it ahead before the live session with your tutor. So that's when you get to the live session with your tutor, you already have some prerequisite background knowledge about what will be treated, and you have a lot of questions to ask your tutor. And so at the end of the live session as well, we also make recorded versions of the session available. So we have a YouTube playlist where we have all recorded versions. So even if you were able to attend the class, you can always go back to the recorded version to watch it. However, we always advise that you try to make at least 70% of live classes. And that's actually for your own good, because you would not, attending a live class is not the same thing as watching a pre-recorded video. While you can ask your questions on the live session as it's coming in, you are dishing it out to your tutor. You can't do the same thing for a pre-recorded video. You probably have to go back much later to Slack and say, oh, tutor, I wasn't clear on this. But the kind of conversation you would have had if it was on the live session with other people also dropping their 2 cents is going to be different from the experience that you would have if you're watching the recorded version. So we try to encourage our learners that have 9 to 5 to make out time to attend the live sessions at least 70% of the time. And then there are also other sessions as well, such as the peer presentation, where you'll be presenting to other people in your class that you have to be available for. Then there's also the guest session that you totally not want to miss, guest session with industry experts that just share their industry experiences and also share from their wealth of knowledge. So that's how that pans out. But you'd always have access to a recorded version for every session that we have. So for the second question, which is when does student come after you to start paying your ISA? Denis, please, can you help with that? So if you've asked your question, you can lower your hand. I can see 3 more hands up. So we'll take their questions after Denis answers this.
All right. So usually when you get your admission letter, when you go through your income sharing agreement, you will see that the time frame within which the lapse for this agreement is 5 years. So you have definitely, honestly, we do not expect you to be unemployed for 5 years after your program at student. So you have a 5-year window before the agreement becomes, before the agreement determines. And there is a really, really important or very important crucial piece of information that I left out for the ISA. The ISA is only available for graduates who have completed their NYSC. So undergraduates cannot opt for the income sharing agreement option. And this is because the income sharing it speaks for itself. Income sharing, it has to do with your income. And definitely when you are an undergraduate or if you're sorry, bless you. If you're not done with school or if you've not completed your youth service, most of the time, getting a job in this part of the country is like probably will I say decreases your chances of employability, or how will I say it? But definitely at the same time, because we are tech, because it's a tech space, most of the time, yeah, your employers are more concerned about your portfolio. But just to be on the safe side, we make sure that all our graduates, that sometimes you might not even go into tech, you might just need the skill or need the knowledge of what you've learned from us to be able to function in that role. And definitely you will be required to provide your NYSC discharge certificates or your BSc certificate when you're applying for a job. That is why the income sharing agreement is not available to undergraduates. And okay, so for that question, I guess I have answered it right. The time frame is 5 years, yes. And you made mention of going after your guarantors. Okay, so your guarantors are not liable to make that payment for you. That's not how the law works. Your guarantors are liable or responsible to get in contact with you when we cannot. most of the time, your guarantors are not only needed for payment options. Usually, if we notice that you did not attend class today, you did not attend class tomorrow, next week, your 2 classes, you were absent, and we try to get across to you, no response, then definitely we have to reach somebody. That's another reason why we request guarantors. So your guarantors have to be someone who will vouch for you or who will vouch for your availability. Exactly. So I hope I've been able to get that.
Thank you, Denny. Ace, does that answer your question before we move to other people?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. Yes, I needed to ask because I've guaranteed someone before. In fact, as a matter of fact, my brother, and there was no cost to come after me. So, but it was done in a short period. So I wanted to know.
Okay, all right. So thank you. Glad that that has been answered. So just to buttress what Denise said, if you notice, even for people that pay full tuition and instrumental payment, we still ask you to bring a guarantor because at least we need to be able to connect with someone. So we'll take one of the questions in the chat box before we answer those that want to speak. Mystery is asking, why do you charge for tax when learning from an institute? When learning from institute is exempted from paying tax? Denny, would you like to take that question, please?
Oh, okay. Hi, Mystery. So there is a really thin line between being an education body and an incorporated trustee. So most of the time, the way it works is that when you're into education, most of the time you do not use you're not a for-profit organization. That's how it works. We are a for-profit, definitely will. That's why we set up the business. It's a business organization. And we've had this debacle with FIRS for a while. Yeah, I think it was even this year. It's still fresh. So usually when you charge for something or when people pay for something, you have to remit it to the government. Definitely when you pay your VAT, it goes to the government. We do not hold on to that. We do that monthly. And yes, we've had this meeting with our accountant too, because we raised it, I think, sometime in April. And we're still working on that. If it is, or if it ends up being the case that we have a go ahead or we have a word from FIRS that, okay, yes, you are free to either charge without VAT and we will not come for you, then that's fine, that works. But until that time, we have to just be on the safe side. That is why. That is just.
Thank you, Denny. So I hope that answers Mystery's question. So we are currently not considered as an education institute in quotes. So we have to remit VAT to the government. So the VAT does not come to us, it goes to the government. So Emmanuel has been raising his hand. Emmanuel, would you like to take your question now? Emmanuel, Lagos Software Engineering.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. I wanted to ask a quick one. Two quick questions actually. I tried doing the software engineering task. I did the HTML, CSS task successfully, I think. For the JavaScript, I was kind of unable to do that. I reached out to the team in Germany, and they told me that if I was unable to do that, to go ahead and submit. And I submitted. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks after, he hadn't had any reply. I sent a mail yesterday, and that was when they gave me a reply that because of the JavaScript and task I was unable to do, I should go back and do it and submit it.
Okay.
So they had to wait till I asked. In 2 weeks, if they had told me earlier, I would have started looking out. So I wanted to know, is that not going to affect my chances of that's one. Then secondly, where I work, I'm trying to get a skill upgrade so that I could apply for a better position in software engineering. So I would really want to know the possibility. I know you said that by request we could get certificates for this, but I want to know, are you giving us guarantees that if we request a certificate, you will surely give to us? Because I would need a certificate. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for your questions, Emmanuel. And I would like to sincerely apologize for the mix-up and also for the break in communication. So yes, we should have communicated to you. Number one, there was a mix-up because all the task. I mean, if one decide to not take JavaScript, so sorry about that mix-up. If you're unable to find, but I believe there are learning resources for JavaScript in the task. If there isn't, that's part of being a self-starter. So I'm sure there are wealth of knowledge on Google that you could just search and try to find information to take the task on your own. But we are sorry that we didn't get across to you on time. Then for the certificate, yes. So initially, at least for our first 8 cohorts, issuing certificates was not a rule of thumb. And that's because we've noticed that, number one, in the industry, in tech space, employers are not really bothered about your certificates. They don't necessarily want to see the paper. What they want to see is your portfolio that shows what you've been able to do. And because there are some people that just take trainings for the fun of it, just so that they can amass certificates. And if this training program is not one of such trainings that you just want to come in just to get the certificate, because it's very intensive and very rigorous. But from our 9th cohort, we started issuing certificates as a rule of thumb, because some of our alumni come back to say, oh, I want to apply for masters and I would like to use my certificates as part of my application process. So now, once you're done with the program and you meet all requirements, you don't even have to ask for it. We will be the ones to send that to you. So for our most recent cohort that just finished, after 2 weeks of graduation, they all got their certificates. So yes, that's all in the clear. So I hope that answers your question, Emmanuel. And regarding if you just taking the JavaScript task is going to affect your chances, no, it wouldn't. But I would advise that you try to turn it in as soon as possible so that we can also review on time. All right, so we'll just try to move faster because we're working against time now. Someone asked if in the chat box if the person skipped NYSC but has BSc certificate. I'm guessing that's regarding the ISA option. Denny, please, can you take that question? That's for someone that hasn't done NYSC and does not have any intention to do it.
Oh, okay, so that depends. Usually we have students who have been granted exemption from going for or completing the youth service. Because if you have the exemption letter, yes, then that works. Also, I think that, okay, so if you do not have the exemption letter, then you probably have to either send a mail to the team, then we can either try to have a meeting on your behalf and see if that is possible. That's one. And two, well, most importantly, if you're going for the ISA, because, well, that's definitely why we'll be having this conversation. Yeah, then we will either have a meeting and get back to you. But I do not think that is not the case. Usually we demand or you are required to have completed your youth service.
All right, thank you, Denny. I hope that answers Daniel's question. So we'll take Patrick's question now. Patrick, please go ahead with your question. Patrick, is Patrick there? Okay, so in the meantime, we'll just take one of the questions in the chat box. Now, Michael says, I mistakenly applied for a program. Can I change? Yes, please just go to the website and apply for your new preference. What is the duration of the program? I guess this person came in late. The program takes about 6 to 8 months. You would also see the breakdown once we share the recorded version of this call. Are there fixed dates for physical lessons to enable those? Yes, there are fixed days, but that will be decided just a few weeks before you resume. So that will be communicated much later, not right now. Bisola, would you like to take your question now?
Hello, yes, I would. So this is a question still going back to what Ace asked about the ISA program. So what if I applied for the ISA program, but maybe within 4 months, I decide to pay a larger amount of money like how much would be required from me to pay it up rather than wait for 2 years?
Okay, thank you for that question, Bisola. Yeah, Denny, just go ahead.
Hi, is that Bisola, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Bisola, so this depends on at what point in time you decide you make it known to us. If it is within the 4 months, that is fine. You will be required to make payment of you'll be required to make payment in the amount of the installment aggregate. That is 584. Although we will deduct your 86,000 naira, which you have paid earlier. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
That is the case. That's within 4 months. Also, if it's not within 4 months, let's say it is within 6 months, like your writing project, sorry, I said writing projects. You're already engaged with your projects and the likes, but you have not graduated. You will still have the grace to make your payment, make payment in the installment aggregate, and we will deduct the 8,000. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Within just about 3 weeks into the program, yes, you will be allowed to pay the full tuition.
All right, thank you, Denny.
Sorry. Hello, sorry. I don't think she understands what I'm saying. I'm talking about after the program, the ISA.
Oh, okay.
Yes, after the whole program.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
that's while I was presenting the payment options, I made mention that negotiations are available outside the ISA. So you'd have to send a mail or you have to contact the accounts team, and usually negotiations are peculiar to each situation. So we do not have a set rule that, oh, for Bisola is going to be so amount, then for Patrick is going to be another amount, or say for Bisola, for everyone it's just going to be 727,000 and all that. No, it depends on every peculiar case. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Denise. So we'll not take any more questions aside those that I've already asked in the chat box and those that have their hands raised, so that we don't exceed our timeline. So let me quickly speak to Mystery's question in the chat box. Well, Mystery and Isn't actually. Isn't it asked that what certificate do you give? So we give you student certificates of completion. We currently do not have any external certification body that we work with. For Mystery, what will student do when an instructor is not giving learners the best or premium learning experience? So yes, there might be a possibility of that, because at the same time, it's a learning experience for everyone involved, instructors and learners alike. And that's why we have this place of check-ins periodically. So we have daily check-ins, we have monthly check-ins as well with the learners. So what we expect them to get is, and we also attend the sessions ourselves just to see what it's like in any of those classes. So what we would expect is that for your daily check-ins, that's why we try to encourage our learners as much as possible to share feedback with us on each of their classes and every of their experience. So if we get wind of any of this, we'd have to discuss with the learners in general, just because we cannot start providing a solution if we're not sure what the problem is, and depending on what the situation is before we can then provide a solution. And then in recent time, graduates have not been able to get internships. So regarding this, if you remember, I don't know if Shay spoke about that, but student does not promise a job. We actually cannot do that because there are different factors that are involved in what gives for someone to get a job. What we can do is connect you with employers, and at the end of the day, employers are the ones that make the decision. But the good thing is we've literally at the end of the program would have provided you with everything you need to be able to succeed. You have the actual art skills or tech skills training that you've gotten. There's also the place of your portfolio that you must have been able to build during the course of the program. There's the place of your collaboration skills. There's the place of the projects that you also already have. And we also have interview preparation sessions. But at the end of the day, it depends on how much work you have been able to put in as well. In the same cohort, you would have someone that is really good, and you have someone that maybe because they weren't able to put in so much time, their portfolio might not be up to par. So all these are also factors that determine your job opportunities and all that. And we also mentioned it, if you heard Yinka's story, Yinka was very good, but she still had to apply to a lot of jobs before she got it. I mean, the tech space is very competitive. There are a whole lot of boot camps out there. Everybody's trying to get into tech and it's very competitive. So it might not be as easy. That's why I said it's not your typical stroll into a 6-figure job. It's not like that. You have to put in the work and be resilient. You have to keep applying, and on our own part as well, we'll be connecting you to employers in our network, try to put the word out there, and yes, basically just connect you to employers in our network. So Bisola, please can you lower your end since you already asked your question? So we'll take Okwe's question next, then Larry and Patrick, and that would be all for today.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. A lot of my question has been answered. However, I still have one, probably because I joined late. I want to know what the tax is about, like during the submission of tax. So what is it about? Is it code? Is it a code challenge or what? Thanks.
All right, thank you Okwe, for your question. So I'm assuming that you've not applied yet. So yes, there are two phases to your task. One is the one that is specific to whatever track that you're applying for. So if you applied for software engineering, you'll be required to take a coding task. Yes, that's what it is. And then if you apply to design, a design task. If you apply to data science, something related to data science. Then the second part is your interview stage. So like Shay mentioned, before pre-COVID, we used to have applicants come into our space and we just have a chat with you to just see if you're a good fit. And why do we do that? Is because we also want to see that you're a good culture fit for the program, because like I shared, all of these factors accumulate together to influence the kind of job opportunities that you might get at the end of the program. So the task is into two, depending on your track, and also the interview, which is general for everyone. So just check the, what's it called now? Check the website, apply. I mean, you don't have to pay anything to apply. Just apply. Once you apply, you get a mail in your inbox. If you don't see it in your inbox, check your spam folder. And if you still don't get it, send us a mail with the subject line didn't get UI/UX task or didn't get software engineering task, and we'll be able to resend it. So once you do that, you see a sample of what the task looks like, and then from then you can decide if you want to proceed. Yeah, so that answers the first question. Lanre, please go ahead with your question before we finally take Patrick's question.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
So I wanted to ask if,
sorry, this is Lanre speaking.
Yes, this is Lanre speaking.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So I wanted to ask if we can do a combination of both front end and back end.
No, you can't. So what we used to have in previous cohorts was a juxtaposition of front end and back end. But what we've seen is in the industry, most people would, most employers would literally still have you specialize. Even if you are a full stack developer, you have the foundations of both things the backend developer is doing. So it makes you more effective in your job developer is doing, and it makes you more effective. So we are looking to simulate the same thing, which is when you come in, you get to learn the foundations of software engineering in general before you then decide to specialize in any of these courses. But by the time you are done, you might even then decide that maybe you want to come back for to then specialize in front end, or you might then decide to self-learn the other parts fully and go more in depth into it. But at least you would have had that foundation that would give you insights to what you really want.
Okay, thank you
very much. All right, Patrick, let's take your question. Sorry, I think I missed Miracle, and I can see that that person has been raising their hand. So we'll take Patrick and then Miracle.
Okay, good day. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Patrick, we can hear you.
Okay, my questions are, I have two questions. First is about the payment. Now, what if I opt in for installmental, then perhaps after the first 2 months, I decide to switch to ISA? Is that possible? Then secondly, about specialization. When I get in and I decide, okay, I just decide to solely do front end or solely do back end, or because I saw that previously I've been following STEM for over a long period of time, perhaps more than a year. So it's usually front end and full stack. There's no usually back end. So can I do front end, or can I when I get in, can I do just back end? And what are my chances if I do back end, just only back end and not just front end?
All right, thank you for your question, Patrick. So Denny will take the question about the ISA, but I'll quickly take the one about your specialization. So yes, which is what I had explained to Larry. Initially, we used to have, once you come in for software engineering, it means that you are going to do both front end and back end in depth. But at the end of the day, we could see that a lot of learners are not, because a lot of people are joining with no background experience. It's a whole lot of work to now come in and decide to learn front end and back end at the same time. It becomes overwhelming for a lot of people. So there's no point being what do they call that thing now? Jack of all trade and master of none. So which is why we're now saying, come in. Yes, exactly. Come in now, learn the foundations of software engineering so that at least when they are saying some front-end terms, it doesn't sound like, oh, this is alien. I've not heard this before. I've not tried this before. When they're speaking about backend, you can't relate. So you learn the foundation, and then at some point in the program, you then specialize in one of these two. So yes, that's what it is now. You'd have to pick one at some point in the program. So I hope that answers your question. So finally, Miracle, please, let's have you now.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
Oh,
He asked
sorry,
the
yes,
question.
the
Yes,
payment question.
let's quickly put that in. Okay, so Patrick, you asked if you opt for installment, and after about 2 months, you probably find that you cannot go on with the payment and you decide to go for ISA. Yes, you can do that because, well, things happen to every one of us at every point in time. So if it is the case that you have made, say, 2 months payment, then your ISA will be tailored or restructured to suit your kind of circumstance. So instead of paying 15% for 24 months, you'll be paying 15% for 12 months. I hope you understand that, because you've paid 2 months. If you paid 3 months, then you'll be paying 15% for 6 months. I hope you get the metrics of that. So that's how that will work or pan out for anyone in that situation.
Thank you, Denny. I hope that answers Patrick's other question.
Yes.
Miracle, yes, please go ahead with your question now. And that will be last of our questions.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can.
Hello. Okay, thank you. My question actually appropriately answered the first question about people that have a 9 to 5. So although I joined the meeting late, I'm wondering if there's an overview of the time plan, so that we can plan ahead, because a course like this, one wants to appropriately count a cost and know how much I have to give into the cost. Do you understand? So that I can probably get the best from the course. So I'm wondering what's the time frame? You're talking about you have to be in class for about 70% of the class. So if I have to be in a live class, what time would it be? Would I be at work? Can I know the accurate time so I can plan ahead of it and know if I really want to take the course and apply for the course? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Miracle. And yeah, I'm sure I've answered something similar. But let me just, what track did you apply for?
I'm trying to apply for the UI UX, just this cohort.
Okay. So I understand how you feel, and I'm sure that a lot of people are really frustrated about the fact that we cannot.
I'm really anxious. That's just the word.
Yes, we cannot give an exact date.
I'm having dreams since
we actually cannot give an exact date now, but we can give you an overview. Sorry, can you hear? Interesting. That's interesting to learn.
About it
yesterday. it feels like people that want to go to the boarding house and they're just putting their uniforms and
Exactly,
everything
you get
ready to
it.
go. Yeah, so we know how you feel, and we really do wish that right now we can answer that question. But there are a lot of factors that also go into that. I mean, classes are supposed to start in August, September, so we don't want to give you a false time that would now change maybe at the beginning of August when classes are maybe already getting set to start. But what you should know is they're usually weekdays, between Monday to Friday, and anytime between 9 to 5. So typically, our live sessions typically hold by 2 p.m., say 2 to 4 p.m. But that time, we don't want to say that that's final, because it can actually change depending on the tutor that is coming in for your own cohort. So once we decide that, oh, this is the time, most likely that's the time that it would run for all through the program. But you can just know that it's usually between 9 to 5. Really, that's what you should know. And
9 to 5.
yeah,
Okay.
between 9 to 5.
9 to
But
5
then
is not
again,
like
like
a
I
time
mentioned, you'd have
for
recorded versions.
okay.
Like I shared, and I've said it over again, we cannot give you a particular time right now, but we will be sure to let you know at least 3 weeks before classes actually start, so that you can decide what to do. And then for the for attending classes at least 70% of the time, it's actually for your own good. So like I mentioned, the experience attending class is not the same as watching a recorded version. It's not the same, and we've seen it affect people along the ways because they could not attend classes, and some of them might even forget to watch the recorded version, or they might not understand as much, and they're not able to ask questions as much. But you get to decide which of the days that you're able to attend the classes, depending on your availability as well. Sorry, it's a bit noisy here now. We had to switch to the gen. But I hope that answers Miracle's question. So you can just
No, it
expect
doesn't.
update from us along the line.
Okay. Thank
Sorry.
you then.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the call. Thank you for making it very engaging. Thank you for your questions. So we just shared our contact details in the chat box. You can either reach out to us via mail, accelerator@student.com, or account@student.com if your question is pertaining to account. And you can call any of these numbers. So you can just copy it out and you can reach out to us on those numbers if you have any other questions. So we'll be sharing the recorded version of this session with you via mail. So you can expect that before the end of this week. Thank you once again for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining the call.